I was really interested in this concept of the blockchain as a database and quickly realized that it's write optimized. You can't really read any data from it except like point lookups. So that was really the basis the thought that spawned Dune. So there needs to be a way for builders like myself and others to like read aggregate data from the chain. So in the beginning, we just started doing that. We just started in what we today call indexing data from the chain. I think we were the first ones to come out with like large scale decoding of data. So we took in ABIs and we could automatically translate bytecodes to typed columns that developers could recognize. And already in like end of 2018, I think we had our first like the app builders become customers, and they just essentially query data that we had in our Postgres database. And then the pivotal moment, I think, came in 2019 when we decided that, one of the groundbreaking things of Ethereum and crypto at that time was that all this data on this database, let's call the blockchain, is publicly legible. You can go to Etherscan and read it, and nobody can stop you from doing that. So instead of trying to build like a pure closed source company around an open data set, we wanted to turn it around and build an open company on top of the open data set. And that's what most people know about Dune today. You go to dune.com and you see essentially user-generated content. Thousands of community members worldwide contribute to create dashboards on everything from, Hyperliquid to stable coins to whatever's hot in crypto at any given time. And so that was sort of the pivotal moment that I think made Dune what it is today. But deep down, we still do the same thing. We fetch the data from the blockchain and make it accessible to people.
Just that it's more chains and more people.
More chains, more people, and the product obviously changed as well, being very single player focused initially to being more multiplayer focused. So when you go to Dune.com today, the interesting thing is like a pure traditional SaaS don't let like users from say company A and company B interact with each other unless they really want to. Whereas on Dune, the default mode is that you're sort of dropped into this pool of people from the world who all work together indirectly to sort of push the space forward. So it's sort of like a little bit of a novel way it works, I'd say.
So right since the beginning, you had chosen this path of user generated content, right? Like how do you incentivize so many users to make sure that they come to Dune and generate this data? That is part one. And secondly, how do you ensure that the quality of data remains consistent across the board? I mean, when someone says that this is a chart for, let's say, number of transactions on Solana that are going through a G2 bundle, how does someone like me who doesn't understand Dune know that that is what exactly the chart is?
Yeah. So on the first point, so we don't really incentivize anyone to show up to Dune, right? It's sort of this inherent incentivization that has become prevalent in crypto where like people who post and share good data and dashboards sort of build up a following and become sort of influencers of themselves. So we actively don't like incentivize through any means really the creation of dashboards. We sometimes work with wizards and in conjunction with clients to create tailored reports and dashboards. But most of the time, everything you see on Dune is sort of purely organic. And as with any user-generated content platform, it is really tricky to know if, this dashboard is 100% correct. In fact, that's really tricky anywhere. And I'd argue that it's actually maybe a little bit easier on Dune than, let's say, a fully closed sourced solution, because on Dune, you yourself or someone or someone on Twitter can actually go and check the source. So somebody can go and see the underlying query. They can go and inspect all the data sets. They can look at every single row that feeds into a dashboard if they so would like to do so. So the fact that it's possible to say, no, if this is quality data or not, I think is the key difference. That doesn't mean that everything you see is quality, not on Dune, not on any sort of analytics website, but we do our best at least to give people the tools to do that.